All right, we are live. This is Ryan Smith with George G Money, the double champ stalwart at Austin Avenue 2 for UFC 242. This is Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and MMA and all that stuff. The next fight's getting ready to start, so who you got?
I'm going with Curtis, man. I think Curtis has got this. What's up, Combat Sports Nation?
I got Curtis Blades, too. He's fighting in Abu Dhabi versus a guy whose last name I cannot say right now. But we will work on that and come back to you after these results. All right, we're not going to wait for the results because we see it, we saw it, and it is done. Curtis Blades defeats
Abdul Rakhimov.
Abdul Rakhimov via blood-face destruction.
Oh, it was bad. Oh, nasty broken nose.
It's a broken nose. It's real bloody.
Not only that, do you see it almost looks like an indentation on his forehead.
Yeah. So basically, Curtis
this.
Blades.
Oh my God!
Curtis Blades gets on top and drops a short elbow, and it just caves his face in. It's basically over at that point.
It's nasty.
Yeah, we don't need to keep. I'm not going to keep watching. I'm going to look at you.
It's nasty, and
I'm not. I'm just man.
I do think I see a slight depression in his forehead as well.
Man, I would not want that. I would not want to walk around the rest of my life with a dent in my head.
Man, speaking of dents. The UFC has put a dent in UFC 2, 44, I think is Madison Square Garden?
I think it's 244, November 2nd.
So, breaking news, if you hadn't heard already, Jorge Masvidal versus Nate, the gangster of Stockton, Diaz.
There it is. So it's East Coast gangsters versus West Coast gangsters.
Man.
Miami-Dade versus Stockton.
Apparently this fight was made possible thanks to Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington.
Okay, so this is what I don't understand. They don't like each other. They want to fight, but they can't get to terms.
Money, 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 money.
See, this is one of those fights that I would want to fight for free. Like, I want to just shut up Colby Covington. So let's just fight.
I do get that. I don't see Kamaru's half of this. He's the champion. He's supposed to be taking on the next contender.
And we already
Colby,
knew who, yeah.
I kind of do get his. He's got one opportunity to shoot his shot, and this is it. And so he needs to milk it for everything he can get out of it. I hate it that he lost it, the opportunity. It's going to be interesting to see where this falls out as a result, though. I'm sure they're going to come back to the table and figure it out.
Well,
the fight's
have to.
Totally been taken off the table.
It's been taken off the table. They said that they threatened to strip Kamaru Usman.
I didn't know that.
And I was reading this. They threatened to strip him of the belt, and they took his guest credentials away from Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
So I don't even think he's in the building tonight.
That says a lot.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's Colby. I think it might be Kamaru Usman who's causing this not to happen.
They tried to make a second fight with Kamaru and
Masvidal, and he wouldn't come to terms there either. So this may be Kamaru Usman feeling himself a little bit too much.
Wow.
Like how do you win a fight, get the championship, haven't defended it yet, and then demanding like Conor level money?
Wow. I'm shocked to hear that. I would not have thought that this was on Kamaru's end.
You wouldn't think so, right? But I saw a tweet from Ariel Helwani saying that the UFC were making these significant threats against Kamaru Usman. But what I don't understand is that this fight is going to be huge regardless. Like, it's going to be a pay-per-view. He's a champ. He should be asking for points anyway.
Right.
Everyone wants to see it. He's going to make the money.
With the new pay-per-view model, though, a lot of fighters are saying that they're not making the same kind of money they could have made as a result of having a belt.
Really?
Yes, because I don't know how the model particularly works or whatever. I don't know the logistics behind it, but they're saying that with this paywall behind ESPN Plus, it has damaged the money-making potential of pay-per-views. It's a different model.
Okay. So, the I guess the other thing that we have to say is you have to keep the long game in mind. So, yeah, the money fight it's a big fight. Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman, but his bigger fight is the fight after that. Because once he does that, likely it's going to be Jorge Masvidal,
Yeah,
or it could be Nate Diaz. Everyone's going to want to see that next fight.
absolutely.
So the money is going to come. Just keep fighting. That's what I don't understand. Like, I understand it's a dangerous sport. I understand that you want to be paid like a champion. You want to make your money. But the money will come if you keep winning. Get in there, fight, and win. I feel like that's scared money.
I don't have a comeback for you on that, man. What I can say is that we are seeing the gap start to be closed some because you and I spoke earlier about Khabib, for example, stands to make $6 million for this fight.
$6 million. That I guess that's before the Reebok kick-ins and all that kind of stuff too.
And a lot of people. This is not a popular opinion, but Khabib is not the most. What's the word I'm looking for?
Charismatic, exciting.
He's not the fighter that everybody wants to watch.
No,
necessarily. But
he's not.
Right now, he is the man. 27-0, undefeated. He's the big draw, especially over in other parts of the world.
Yes.
So that's what I think a lot of the American public doesn't get. But for him to make $6 million on this fight, oh my goodness! That what that really says is the ceiling is a lot higher than we think because there are going to be some other fighters with big names or who have a better following or more of a following who are going to follow through after this. The UFC absolutely did right to put this in Abu Dhabi, man.
I think so, too.
Really interested to see where they're going to take it after this as far as what they can do in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And the type of fights that they're able to put on over there.
Well, and the thing is that, we're looking at, the next fight coming up. These are people in Khabib Nurmagomedov's camp.
Yeah.
So they're getting a lot of good exposure as well.
That's another thing the UFC has really been doing well is putting fights together based upon camps.
Yeah.
Like guys who all train out of the same facilities or out of the same areas. Mm-hmm. If you hadn't noticed already, Mick Maynard is one of the new matchmakers for the UFC.
I did not know that.
And a lot of Texas fighters have been put on cards here in the last year and a half. Like it's tonight in Abu Dhabi, we had a Texas fighter on the card, Ferreira. Mm-hmm. And it's really happening, man.
All right. So fighters are coming into the ring. Coming in right now is Davi Ramos from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Also known as Ramos.
Ramos, that's right, because R's are pronounced as H's in Portuguese.
Yep. I forgot who he's fighting.
Islam Makhachev.
That's right. This one should be an actual
this
pretty good
fight. Is, yeah, I know who I'm fighting. I know who I'm going for.
So Davi is the underdog in this.
Yes, a big underdog, I would assume.
But I think he can pull it off.
All right. Are you going to? Is
Ferreira.
that a pick?
Ferreira was the underdog in the other one. No, I'm going with Islam.
I was going to say.
Look, we are in a Muslim country. I'm not betting against the Muslims. I'm
all
sorry,
right.
no.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you'll keep that all the way throughout the rest of the fight. But last time I checked, Curtis Blades was not Muslim.
Come back to me on that one. He's of African American descent. There's a little Islam in there somewhere.
Oh, I got you. All right. So Ramos is coming into the ring. I haven't seen a lot of fights from him.
From Ramos?
Yeah. I mean, this is not a fighter that I know a lot about. I'm excited to see him, but I did see Makhachev. I think I might not have been pronouncing his name right. Islam Makhachev.
Another training partner of Khabib.
Oof. I'm having trouble tonight.
That, was actually suspended after the
was he?
The fiasco. Yeah, he and both of the guys that were suspended from that card.
Yeah, I
fought
knew,
on this card tonight.
I knew Tukagov.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that he got suspended because he was the one that was throwing bombs at Connor.
So in essence,
from
Khabib
behind.
kept his word. He's like, I'm not fighting until
my boys fight.
My boys, yeah, and both of them are on this card.
Man, that's awesome. All right, here we go. Let's
Khabib's dad is helping to walk him in.
That's it. Islam Makhachev. I was close.
In the neighborhood.
I was in the neighborhood from Dagestan. Now, there was an interesting stat that we went over in the show, a couple of episodes ago, and that was fighters from Dagestan are almost 90%, have a 90% win rate.
some bad boys out of there.
So-
And Khabib says we hadn't seen the baddest ones come out of there yet.
Wow.
You know, he did an embedded show several months ago where he talked about they were building a gym over there and some of the vision and the plans they had for that gym. And another example of it is Khabib's dad is cornering Islam tonight. He's cornering one or two other fighters as well. We've never seen Khabib's dad corner anybody in the UFC that I'm aware of. He's never cornered Khabib in a UFC fight, so this is the first time that's happening today.
Wow.
But his dad is, he is the trainer out of that area, and he brought all those guys to the table like that.
He's the Greg Jackson of the East.
Yeah. From what I understand, Dagestan, Russia is like the Texas of
Hell yeah.
it's that kind of atmosphere out there.
All right, I like that. So, so we've got Islam Makhachev. You're gonna go with Makhachev.
I'm going with Makhachev, yes.
Me too. I've seen him fight before. It was a dynamic display of just skill. I don't think the fight went more than a round or two, so I predict that this fight will also go quickly. I'm gonna go second round finish.
Not calling a finish on this one, but I see Islam by decision.
All right, Islam by decision. Okay, well, we have the fighters in the ring. What we'll do is we will listen to the intros, and we'll be back after these results. All right, we have a decision. Islam Makhachev wins by unanimous decision. He got a 10-8 round.
From two different judges.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't see a 10-8 round, but he definitely dominated this entire fight. But, of course, the scoring criteria has changed up, so a lot of guys we're going to see that a lot more, 10-8 rounds when we didn't.
Yeah. So in the in the UFC now, they've made it easier. They actually better defined what would constitute a 10-8 round. Mm-hmm. So I would assume that it was in the third round when Makhachev lands that big knee to the jaw of Ramos, and then really took dominant position over Ramos for most of that round.
Wasn't that the same round when he got dropped too, though, off of a jab or something?
He did get dropped off of a jab, but he didn't go all the way down to the ground.
Okay.
I mean, he lost his legs for a moment. He went for a takedown and then went back up and continued the fight.
I'm really interested to see the evolution of scoring in MMA. One of the biggest complaints that fighters have always had is that, hey, we're on a boxing system when it comes to scoring. And I feel like the UFC is being progressive enough in a lot of the things they're doing that eventually they are definitely going to change the scoring criterion system up and make it a lot better for the fighter. Because we see way too many robberies happen from judges who are ill-informed, just have no idea what the sport really is, especially in like your local promotions, man. If you ever go to any of your local MMA fights or some of your not so big promotions, you really get to see it there because most of those judges are coming out of commissions that are boxing heavy.
Right.
And so they tend to favor guys who throw hands.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing is that I like how you were talking about the fact that UFC is working to lobby to get better, more well-defined rules that are really MMA specific as opposed to boxing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like over time, since we've been covering this sport and the UFC, we've seen fewer and fewer robberies at the UFC level. But I could see how, as you move down into smaller and regional promotions, you start running into these judges that are, selected because they got a judging experience and not necessarily MMA experience.
I ran into it here recently, man. One of my fighters was fighting up in Oklahoma, and he got robbed of a decision as a result of that. Similar thing. The other guy was more boxing, hands heavy. Mm-hmm. My guy was more Muay Thai, throwing elbows, knees, and kicks.
Yeah.
And they scored it for the boxer.
Wow. Yeah, they don't give enough credit to the knees and kicks. No. 'Cause that leg kick can be debilitating.
Oh, man, let the right body kick land on the liver.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, Edson Barbosa is coming in there against Paul Felder. We know these fighters. This is going to be exciting.
So, this is the second time these two have matched up. Felder came out on the short end of the last one. He thinks he's made some adjustments, though, and is ready to take it to Edson. He thinks he's going to pull this one out, man.
Well, I like Paul Felder. He is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where the mighty Philadelphia Eagles fly, reside.
No, there was going to be a plug to get Philly in.
It is football season. It's always MMA season, but right now it's football season. Tomorrow starts the rest of week 1, and this is what I've been telling everybody. Week 1 exposes the weak ones.
I like it.
So I like Paul Felder.
In this matchup?
I just said I like Paul Felder. I didn't say I wanted.
I thought you were backing
I
your Philly
predicted
homeboy.
Paul Felder to win.
I don't know. Some people are predicting Paul to pull this one out.
I think it's going to be a close fight. The big thing for me, Edson Barboza is so explosive, and if you can weather the storm and not get knocked out, you've got a great shot. But I feel like in order to really dominate someone like Edson Barboza, you have to have a wrestling base. And I don't know that Paul Felder has that. I think Paul's a striker as well.
Yeah, he's definitely a striker.
And I think that favors Edson Barboza.
But the thing I'm concerned about in this one is, Paul's coming back after that lung injury. He, what was it? I think he punctured his lung not too long ago in a fight.
Okay.
And so this is his first fight back since then, if I'm not mistaken. I want to make sure he's fully recovered. That is a concern of mine going into this one. As a result, I'm picking Edson on this one.
Yeah. I like Edson Barboza. I think I'm leaning towards him right now. I mean, I like Paul Felder. If he wins this fight, I won't be upset with it. But I feel like when two strikers walk into the ring and it's a striking contest, I got to give it to the guy whose bread and butter is knocking folks out, and that is Edson Barboza.
Wheel kick Barboza.
Wheel kick Barboza, or as I like to call it, the real kick. Because it gets real bad. It gets everything spins for this dude.
So their first fight was, I think, back in like 2015, man. And it was pretty much a barn burner as well.
Yeah.
But as you can see right there, those kicks just really made a difference.
Yep.
Felder is more of an elbow-type Muay Thai striking guy. He wants to get in close and do his damage up tight.
Right. Whereas
he's got to close the range on Edson, and I think he's going to have a hard time doing that.
Yeah. Edson Barboza likes to keep it on the outside, gives him enough room to throw those spinning wheel kicks, spinning elbows, or spinning fists, back fists, and I mean, we've got some whirling dervishes going on. I think we're going to have a good time here.
Something else I've noticed about Felder here lately, and watching some of the media and the press on him, he's been talking a lot about food lately. He may weight, don't get me wrong, but he's having this fetish about these 20,000 calorie YouTube videos where guys eat 20,000 calories in a day. And this has been all he's been talking about all throughout this fight camp.
Well, the thing is that Paul Felder's not a dummy, right? I mean, he has a career doing calling the fights.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's got an option outside of fighting. If he
he does a good job of it.
He does a fantastic job. So, I really think that when you have someone like Edson Barboza, it's going to be a good fight. But Paul, maybe this
one
may
foot
be
in, 1 foot out.
Getting the 1 foot out of the game.
Just thinking a little too much about food.
Thinking too much about food. Knowing he's got other options. Oh yes, the Terry Edom fight. They just showed the knockout that shook the world.
And he is known for throwing that kick, man.
He is.
All day,
and
every
it's so
day.
fast. And he's 21 fights in. 21 fights in, and he's still throwing that kick with speed and velocity.
I'm really interested to see how Felder's going to deal with the kicking power of Edson.
I want to see the leg kicks.
Well, I'm expecting him to eat the leg kicks and throw the cross. Or close it. Use the leg kicks to go ahead and close the distance is what I would think Felder's going to do. Okay. Instead of trying to check and lift that leg up, plant hard on that leg and throw hard from the right.
Well, you heard it here, folks. This is now professional coach and double champ G Money. Man, we just keep adding accolades to your name.
Dude,
I don't know what else to. I mean, we're just going to be. I can't wait to introduce you again.
I never saw myself in this light when I was younger. So to be here now, it feels good, man. It feels real good.
All right, well, I'm very proud of you. Congratulations. Well, after this fight, I want you to tell us a little bit about the fighter that you're training.
Okay.
And maybe we can get him on the show.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we have made our picks. Both of us are going Edson Barboza on this one, even though I have a little space in my heart for Mr. Felder, the Irish Dragon. We're going to see what happens. We'll be back after these results. All right, we have the results. Paul, the Irish Dragon, Felder wins by split decision, 29-28 and 30-27. That was the shocker. It wasn't a shocker for me that Paul Felder might have won that round. Won the fight. It's a shocker that one of the judges gave Paul Felder
all 3 rounds.
All 3 rounds.
Like, where is that happening at?
I don't know.
Round 1 I thought was solidly Barboza. Round 2, I actually thought Barboza won just because of the takedown.
Yeah.
He didn't do any work while he was down there, but he controlled him down on the ground for at least a solid minute and a half of that fight.
But the thing that I was telling you, as we were going into the third round, Barbosa's coaches said,
"You're up 2.
You're up 2-0," and I was like, "That you don't tell your fighter that," because round 2 was close. Because even though Barbosa got the takedown, the person who was doing the work was Felder. Felder cut Barbosa open
from the
bottom, and you never know how the judges are going to score that. And in this case, one of the judges gave
Felder
that round, and Barbosa came out and really got worked in the third round.
Yeah, he definitely was outstruck in the third round, but the first 2 rounds, I don't know what fight that judge was watching.
I don't know what yeah. And the same the same goes for the other judge, because one judge gave Edson Barbosa a 30-27 as well. I don't see that one really either, because the third round was fairly dominant for Felder.
Yeah.
I had the fight 2-1 for Barbosa. I saw a close second round. I'm pretty shocked by the result. But I'm not shocked by the result. I'm shocked by the score.
Absolutely. Well, we are on our way to our main event,
the
ladies and
main
gentlemen.
event of the evening.
Interim champion Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus the Eagle.
The Eagle.
Khabib, or as Joey Diaz would say, Kalabib
Nurmagomedov. Man, I am excited about this fight. One reason, because I got family in Louisiana, so Louisiana has a special place in my heart. Dustin Poirier being from Lafayette.
Yep.
He does a lot for the community there. Typically whenever he fights, he'll auction off his fight wear from the fight, and that goes into his into his nonprofit.
I'm trying to remember what specifically that charity benefits, like.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
But it's one. I think it's like impoverished families, maybe families of veterans or something like that. Perhaps it's families of veterans who have lost the veteran.
Okay.
So I'll look that one up. But this is a great redemption story for Dustin Poirier if you think about it,
dude. I think it was Michael Bisping gave a shout out to him, or Dustin gave a shout out to Michael Bisping, talking about the fact that after X amount of fights, he finally gets his shot at a championship belt. And it's the same thing for Dustin. I think he's 26 fights in?
He's 30 fights in.
30 fights in. And just now getting that championship shot.
Yeah, because...
And beat some of the biggest names out there, like especially the last 5 fights he's had. Max, Justin Gaethje, Anthony Pettis. Who else did he beat? There was another champion he bested. Eddie Alvarez. I mean, twice with Eddie, technically.
Yeah.
One was a no contest.
That's right.
He has put in the work to be here, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is, he also fought Conor. Conor caught him in the back of the head at 145.
Yeah.
And he lost that fight.
Yep.
Now, if he wins this fight, he might be able to get that one back.
Absolutely. That would be an interesting fight. I can see that one being a moneymaker.
But he got to get through. He got to get through my man first. Both of them got to get through my man. Not Khabib.
Who?
Because assuming Poirier would win this fight, before he could get to Conor, he would have to get through El Cucuy.
Tony Ferguson.
So I'm excited about this fight. Dustin Poirier has come a long way. He's done a lot, and I'm excited for him. I like what you were saying, and they're showing it right now. Is Michael Bisping getting one shot, one opportunity,
and making the most of it,
and he captured it. He didn't let it slip.
Yeah,
I'm going 8 Mile on this. So,
what do you see as the keys for Dustin to win this fight against Khabib, man?
In my opinion, Dustin needs to make this a stand-up fight. If this goes to the ground,
how do you make this a stand-up fight against somebody with Khabib's wrestling pedigree?
Because if you think back to the great Ronda Rousey, she had a great judo background, but she saw herself as a striker. When you think about Khabib fighting Al Iaquinta, choosing to strike with Al. You see Khabib Nurmagomedov standing and striking with Conor and even rocking Conor.
Not just rocked him, knocked him down.
Knocked him
Got
down.
him on the end of that punch too.
Yeah. You've got a little stand-up fighter in Habib that wants to come out. And if I was Dustin Poirier, I'd be like,
Let's see if we can
little banger, come on out.
Point to the ground.
Come see me. Stand in the
out.
middle of the octagon and let's throw bombs.
Absolutely.
You gotta make this a dirty fight.
I think the same thing, man. The keys that I see to this for Dustin right now is, one, don't let this fight get taken to the ground.
Right.
Two, by all means, if for some reason you get taken down, do not let Khabib wrap his legs around your legs.
Right.
You notice the past couple of fights, that's what Khabib has done to folks. He's wrapped you up with his own legs, damn near crossed your legs.
Yep.
And that kept you from being able to.
So how do you do that? Do you sit Indian style if you're down? Do you sit Indian style? What do you do?
Go ahead and separate your legs and get one leg outside of the box, outside of the fatal funnel.
Okay.
That's for one thing.
I like that term.
Two, you want to go ahead and start basing yourself. As soon as you hit the ground, you need to be creating at least two bases, a hand and a foot, down, pushing yourself back up. The only other advice I would probably give, be deadly on the ground. If for whatever reason you do get taken down, you need to be throwing bombs from the bottom.
All right. Yeah, so I think we both agree this fight is over if this fight goes to the ground. That this plays in Habib's hands.
Absolutely.
If this stands up, then Poirier has a shot. I'm excited about this fight because either way you get it, whether it's Habib on top or Poirier, this is going to be an exciting one that we'll be talking about for the rest of the year.
Absolutely, man. And the fighters are now making their way to the cage. Dustin's walking into
payback. This is
the big payback.
No. Paid the cost to be the boss. This is James Brown, the Godfather of Soul.
Okay.
Paid the cost to be the boss.
Words never rang true.
I'm a bad mother.
It's all right. And Dustin's making his run on down right now, ladies and
he's
gentlemen.
doing it DC style, running to the ring.
It's all right, man.
So,
I do have another question for you. So,
right.
Being that these fights took place in Abu Dhabi, the fight time here in America is quite different. I heard you say earlier how much you actually like this model right now. Like, this is a great time of day. It's a Saturday. It's right around 3 o'clock here in Texas. And we got the rest of the day ahead of us. You know what? I'm looking around.
Nobody's drunk.
Yeah.
You know, this is nice.
This particular establishment is full of what I would consider fight fans right now, ladies and gentlemen.
And you've got fans.
Yeah.
Everybody who's here is here to watch this fight.
Yeah.
So, we're not getting bumped by pool players, people playing pool. I really do like this. I could go for this. Okay.
We'll have to let the management know what we think of this.
Yeah. So, here we go. Let's go ahead and make our picks. What you got?
Man, I really want Dustin to win this. But I do believe Khabib, the eagle, will fly tonight. We're in home territory for him. He's got a great backing. Matter of fact, I can't wait to see his intro because I know this crowd is about to go crazy.
Yes, they are. So, does that mean that you're going with Habib?
Habib, man.
What is your call?
Habib by decision.
All right. I am going. I've been singing the praises of Habib Nurmagomedov the entire week. I was poised to pick Habib Nurmagomedov, but coming out
breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Coming out with James Brown, this is an underdog story that's just hitting me in the feels. I'm going for Dustin Poirier.
You know, I almost feel like you should have waited till the walkout of Khabib.
No.
You're in the fields, you said.
No. I'm picking Habib Nurmagomedov. I'm just going. Like, I'm not crazy, but I watch this sport.
And
here is Habib. No, I want Dustin Poirier to win this fight.
I would love for Dustin to
win. But I'm picking Habib.
Yeah.
28-0. Man, everything lit up red. It's crazy. So we got our picks. Habib Nurmagomedov is walking into the ring. We'll be back, and perhaps we'll be heralding a new.
I say let's stay live for
You want to
Khabib's
stay live?
walk-in. Yeah,
Okay.
just for the
All
walk-in.
All right.
Just to see what happens here. Like, again, first time in Abu Dhabi, folks. The crowd right now is, I don't know what Khabib's walking into.
It's hard to tell.
But I think it just got changed up.
So my friend, I'm going to send a shout out to my friend Saad, because Saad was teaching me something about the Islamic faith, and when you pray and you're asking God for something, you'll notice that they'll put their hands. I'm gesturing like you guys can see me, but they'll put their hands to their face.
Right.
And so you saw as Habib, as he's walking out of the door, you saw his hands go up. He said a quick prayer, and now it's game time.
Well, I wonder what the significance is of putting the hands to the face.
So what I've learned is that there are two types of prayers. There's a prayer of worship, and there's a prayer of like asking. And so the prayer of worship is what we typically see whenever we see photos of large groups of Muslims praying. They're down worshiping.
Right.
But the kind of an everyday prayer, as many Christians will just kind of send one up prayer for hey, help me through this moment or something like that. In Islam, what you'll typically cup your hands up to your face and make that prayer. So what we saw is a prayer. I don't know what he prayed for, but we saw a prayer come out as he walked into the arena, and so that is a typical for Habib Nurmagomedov, a very devout believer in his faith.
He's hugging his dad right now as he gets ready to enter that octagon.
So you were talking about what Dustin Poirier's foundation was up to.
Yeah.
Basically, it's kind of a general foundation that attempts to do good in the world. And so what they're fighting for right now is they're raising money for the Batwa pygmy children after a torrential flood that recently ruined their only water source.
Okay.
So
isn't that Justin Wren's affiliated with that, if I'm not mistaken?
Perhaps he is.
I think so. I want to say I saw a podcast somewhere recently where the two of them were talking about it together. Justin has been a big proponent for the whales in Africa, establishing whales in Africa.
Right. So they are working in concert with Fight for the Forgotten. So that may be that organization. So Dustin Poirier does a lot of good. I have to say also Habib Nurmagomedov has actually built a few wells out in Uganda as well. So it's great to see fighters who have who's strong in their faith and their beliefs, who are doing good in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And aren't knuckleheads breaking causing crimes and
hitting old men in bars,
breaking laws. We're not who did that?
Hey, I'm just saying it happened. Speaking of doing good, Khabib suspected fight purse for this fight, $6 million. million.
Worth every penny.
Dude, so that's been the big talk is that MMA fighters are starting to bridge the gap between boxing pay and MMA pay, man, and I'm glad to see it. And, who would have ever thought it would be Khabib to be one of the ones to do that? I mean, what is this, like 3 times the payout he had for the Conor fight almost?
Well, is that before or after he lost all that money for Flying Eagle outside of the ring?
Definitely after, but no, I think it was like $3 million was going to be his purse in the Conor fight. Yep. And he's looking to make 6 on this one, probably more depending on pay-per-view points and stuff.
All right, so we're getting ready to hear Bruce Buffer, so we're going to start the timer to see what the buffer factor is going to be set at tonight.
And we are.
All right, so we're timing. Are we going to stay live or what?
We can go out.
All right, so we've made our picks. Both of us are on Habib Nurmagomedov, and we'll be back after these results.
This was a short.
All right, we have a result, and still. All right, we'll see it. And still, the lightweight champion of the world, Habib Nurmagomedov, wins in the third round.
Third round finish.
Third round finish by rear naked choke. That was it.
Great fight. There were several opportunities for both of them actually with that choke. I think Dustin had Poirier had a guillotine at one point. Reorganized it, came back, put it in a little bit tighter. Khabib fought through it. Khabib caught him in a couple of rear naked chokes. Finally got one under the chin, or under the neck rather, and took it home after that.
You know, I just don't like the guillotine against a pure wrestler. I don't like it because you give up your back, and what ends up happening is that someone like Khabib, if you don't get the guillotine, you're in a bad position, and Khabib is made up of putting you in bad position.
Absolutely. It's high risk, big reward.
Sure,
it's that kind of thing. But you've got to know what you're doing when you lock that in on somebody of Khabib's caliber.
Yeah.
Because if he gets one leg free or whatever,
That's
he's gonna pop that other leg over to the other side, and he's popping up out of there.
All right, so we have a card complete. I think this was a great card.
This was a phenomenal card. Great fights on it.
What do you think the fight of the night was?
You know, strangely enough, I did like the Barbosa-Felder fight, just not the decision as a result of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good exchanges back and forth with each other. The Dustin fight, Dustin and Khabib, I thought it was a pretty good fight as well. I definitely would go with those two.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I would give it an edge to the Felder Barbosa. I didn't like the decision at the end, but you know, at the end of the day, it's definitely one of those things where they were evenly matched.
Yeah,
I think that Khabib versus Poirier, Khabib was super dominant throughout the fight. All right, so I'm just pulling up the results here. So Carlos Diego Ferreira from Dallas.
Yep, he's a Fortis guy.
Won by decision over Marbek
Don't even ask. Taisumov.
I
was close.
You were. We saw Curtis Blades win by TKO in round 2 against Shamil Abdurakhimov. Okay. Abdurakhimov. That was that brutal elbow to the face.
Oh my, dude! I tell you, I thought I saw an indention in his forehead on that fight.
Man, a heavyweight sitting on you, dropping elbows.
Not only that,
is not what you want.
His head was the back of his head was flat on the mat. Too,
yeah, so he took all of that power. Islam Makhachev continued his undefeated streak in the UFC.
Okay.
And then we had Paul Felder sneak out a split decision against Edson Barbosa. And then Khabib Nurmagomedov, round 3, submission victory.
I wouldn't mind seeing a trilogy fight with Felder and Edson now at this point.
Yeah, it was so close that I think you have to do that. Absolutely. So what's next for Khabib? He said he wants a couple of days, not a couple of weeks or a couple of months, a couple of days to think about it. But I think it's pretty clear he needs to fight
Tony Ferguson,
Kukui.
And Khabib's the stand-up kind of guy. He's going to say, hey, give me the next title contender. I can see him doing that.
All right. So,
but the bad part about it is you could also see there are so many fights out there for him at 155. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the GSP fight.
But he wants GSP at 155, not 170.
Right. GSP is not going to 155.
I don't think so either. But I don't think he needs to fight GSP.
Who would you like to see other than Tony Ferguson?
Other than Tony Ferguson, I'd love to see him fight the winner of Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal.
They're 170s.
Are they fight?
Yeah.
Dang it.
I mean, Nate's fought at 155 and so has.
Yeah, you're right.
They both went up. I mean,
you're right.
They're doable fights. Don't get me wrong.
I guess there's not a lot of lightweights left that I want to see.
Well, okay, so we got Conor.
No, I don't want to see Conor anymore. Conor needs to win a fight.
Tony.
That's my boy.
Justin Gaethje is still in the running. I think he's ranked like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And who else is in there? And Paul Felder just jumped up in the rankings as a result.
Absolutely. So
and
there's
Paul
some guys out
basically
there.
called out Conor.
But the thing is that what's hurting me is the fact that all of those names except for Tony Ferguson, they're not going to be able to contend with the wrestling. They're not going to be able to have an answer for that pressure. So what do you do? What do you do? Anyway, all right. Anything else before we go?
That's it, man.
Okay, well then this is what we'll do. We're going to come back for, the next fight is in October.
October the 5th, I think.
Something like that, and that is in Australia. That is the fight between Robert Whittaker and Izzy Israel Adesanya, the last stylebender. So I'm excited about that one. We'll be back after that. This is Ryan Smith and George G Money, the professional Muay Thai coach, stalwart. Super proud of you.
Appreciate you.
Signing off from Austin Avenue 2. Reminding you also to keep your hands up, keep your chin tucked, and throw bombs. Unless you're fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov, then sprawl, sprawl, sprawl. We'll see you next time.